Memorial Public Lecture instituted as part of the endowment created by Tripura Times. We are deeply honored and privileged to have amongst us Honorable Mr. Justice Ujjal Bhuyan, Judge of the Supreme Court of India, as the distinguished speaker and chief guest of the second edition of the lecture. So it is our utmost pleasure to extend to our warmest greetings and heartfelt welcome on behalf of National Law University Tripura and the family of late Apanshu Mohan Lodh. Welcome, sir. It is also my great honor to welcome the dignitaries who are seated off the dais. To begin with, we extend our warm greetings to Honorable Mr. Justice M.S. Sri Ramachandra Rao, Chief Justice of the High Court of Tripura and our Chancellor NLU Tripura. Thank you, sir, for being with us today. We also extend a warm welcome to the Honorable sitting and former judges of the High Court of Tripura present here. Please accept our heartfelt greetings. We are equally pleased to welcome the Advocate General, Chief Secretary, Senior Advocates, Secretaries of various departments, Government of Tripura, Officers of Tripura Police, Judicial Officers, President of the Press Club, friends from the press community, the beloved family of late Apanshu Mohan Lodh, faculty members of NLU Tripura, and law schools from Tripura, staff and my dear students. Thank you all for joining us and making this occasion truly special.
Respected Chief Guest, sir, this is just for your kind note that history added with mythology, the culturally diverse state of Tripura has seen the presence of the Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore for 7 times. This state has 19 tribes, sir. Sachin Kata was the son of the soil. We have Padma Shri, Deepa Karmakar with us. We have so many national awardees in our state. This green lushing state of ours, over the last many decades, sir, has only spread the message of love, love, and only love. Chief Guest, sir, this month being the month of March, and the man for whom we all have gathered here, late Sri Apanshu Mohan Lodh, was born on this month only. Had he been with us today, he would have been a very young man of 94 years. The spirit, the wonderful, humble submission he had for his community is just unexplainable. Please allow me, Chief Guest, sir. Late Apanshu Mohan Lodh was an eminent lawyer and a widely respected personality of our state, not only in the field of advocacy, but also in the field of media. He gave birth to one of the best English newspaper of the region, Tripura Times, the founder editor of it. The memorial lecture, sir, as you already know by now, entrusted to NLU Tripura, is organized to honor his enduring legacy, his meaningful academic dialogues, and the wonderful message that he always believed, life is one. We all have to give our best. Respected dignitaries on the dais, would it be too bold for me to humbly request you to please proceed for lighting the lamp?
As Gautam Buddha said, if you light a lamp for someone else, it will also brighten your path. To mark the auspicious, may I request the volunteers to kindly assist? May I please request the faculty in charge to kindly coordinate? To mark the auspicious beginning of today's program, we will now proceed with the ceremonial lighting of the lamp. May I request our dignitaries on the dais to kindly do the honor of lighting the lamp. This will be followed by a Shraddhanjali to late Apanshu Mohan Lodh.
May I invite the family of late Apanshu Mohan Lodh, Mrs. Shima Lodh ma'am, and Miss Abhishekta Lodh, the granddaughter of late Apanshu Mohan Lodh and Managing Director of Tripura Times, to kindly come on the dais for taking part in the Shraddhanjali part. And this would be followed by Robindra Songit. May I also request students of NLU to please take their position and be ready with the song.
Thank you, students, for that melodious voice. It is now my honor and privilege to invite the visionary leader of National Law University Tripura, whose guidance and continuous commitment continue to shape the academic and intellectual landscape of this institution. I respectfully invite our Honorable Founding Vice Chancellor to kindly deliver the welcome address.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mr. Justice Ujjal Bhuyan, Judge Supreme Court of India, and the chief guest of today's event, Honorable Mr. Justice M.S. Ramachandra Rao, Chief Justice, High Court of Tripura and Chancellor, National Law University Tripura, Honorable Mr. Justice T. Amarnath Gaud, Judge, High Court of Tripura, Honorable Mr. Justice Sabyasachi Dattapur Kayastha, Judge, High Court of Tripura, Honorable Mr. Justice Biswajit Palit, Judge, High Court of Tripura, Honorable Mr. Justice Harindam Lodh, former Judge, High Court of Tripura and Chairperson, Tripura State Human Rights Commission, Honorable Mr. Justice U.B. Saha, former Judge, High Court of Tripura, Honorable Mr. Justice S.C. Das, former Judge, High Court of Tripura, Learned Advocate General Tripura, Learned Chief Secretary Tripura, Director General of Police, Additional Director General of Police, SP West Tripura, Chairman State Bar Council, esteemed members of the Lodh family, Sri Piyush G. Shenwat, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court, Senior Advocates, High Court of Tripura, Registrar General, High Court of Tripura, Director, Deputy Director, Tripura Judicial Academy, Judicial Officers, officials from the High Court Registry, faculty members from Tripura University, Techno India University, ICFI University, Government Law College Tripura, National Law University Tripura, dear students from NLU Tripura, Government Law College Tripura, Techno India University and ICFI Law School, members of the print and electronic media, ladies and gentlemen, it is my proud privilege to welcome you all to the second Apanshu Mohan Lodh Memorial Public Lecture on the topic Emerging Frontiers for Law Graduates, Challenges and Opportunities. This lecture series has been instituted by Tripura Times to commemorate the life and legacy of Sri Apanshu Mohan Lodh, whose contributions and commitment to legal fraternity in Tripura and society at large continue to inspire all of us. Through this memorial lecture, the university seeks to promote meaningful dialogue on important issues relating to law, justice, and public life. Sir, the inaugural lecture was delivered by Honorable Mr. Justice Deepak Gupta, former Judge Supreme Court of India and founding Chief Justice High Court of Tripura. We are deeply honored that Honorable Mr. Justice Ujjal Bhuyan, Judge Supreme Court of India, has graciously accepted our invitation to deliver this year's memorial lecture. Honorable Justice Ujjal Bhuyan is widely admired for his distinguished judicial career, profound legal scholarship, and above all, an unwavering commitment to constitutional values and the rule of law. His Lordship Justice Bhuyan has consistently emphasized the importance of individual liberty, procedural fairness, and judicial accountability. In recent Birender Singh vs. Union of India, while setting aside the order of the Armed Force Tribunal, which had denied appellant disability pension, holding that his disability was less than 20% and not imputable to military service, Justice Bhuyan directed the respondent to grant the appellant disability pension at 50% with arrears and interest, and he also held, and I quote, "The morale of the armed forces requires absolute and undiluted protection. If any injury leads to loss of service without any indemnification, this morale would be severely undermined," unquote. In Ramu Appa Mahapata vs. State of Maharashtra, His Lordship, while hearing a criminal appeal against the Bombay High Court decision, held that a free and voluntary confession is deserving of the highest credit because it is presumed to flow from the highest sense of guilt. Charles Evans Hughes, a prominent American jurist who also served as the 11th Chief Justice of the United States, once said, and I quote, "A dissent in a court of last resort is an appeal to the brooding spirit of the law, to the intelligence of a future day when a later decision may possibly correct the error into which the dissenting judge believes the court to have been betrayed." At a time when culture of writing dissenting opinions is declining in our court of last resort, our Supreme Court, His Lordship Justice Bhuyan delivered a strong dissenting opinion arguing against the retrospective grant of environmental clearance, calling it as a state in regression, and emphasizing the court's responsibility to protect the environment. For a young and growing institution like National Law University Tripura, the presence of such a distinguished jurist such as Honorable Justice Ujjal Bhuyan is a matter of great pride and inspiration. सर, चाँद भी हैरान दरिया भी परेशानी में है, चाँद भी हैरान दरिया भी परेशानी में है, अक्स किसका है कि इतनी रोशनी पानी में है. This Urdu couplet says that the reflection of a beloved person is so luminous and captivating that it surpasses the moon's own light. It is your reflection that has filled National Law University Tripura with such a radiant light. On behalf of entire university community, on behalf of esteemed Lodh family, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to your Lordship for sparing his valuable time to be with us today and to share his thoughts through this memorial lecture. Milord Foundation Stone of National Law University Tripura was laid by Her Excellency Srimati Draupadi Murmu, Honorable President of India, on 12th October 2022. But university started its academic activities from the year 2023. And in a short span of 2.5 years, university has made its mark in legal circles on all fronts: teaching, research, advocacy, and outreach. We have organized conferences, workshops, faculty development programs. We are very actively pursuing our outreach activities through Legal Aid Clinic and School Connect initiative. We are also committed to bring quality research and have signed MOU with government departments. We have signed MOU with RD Panchayat, Government of Tripura, to provide hand-holding support to 1200 Gram Panchayats in preparation of Gram Panchayat Development Plan. We are also doing comprehensive review of all the legislations administered in the state of Tripura and helping government to pass the Jan Vishwas Act. Tripura is one of the front runner and leading state which has passed Jan Vishwas Act, and we are working with the government so that we can pass Jan Vishwas Act second 2.0. We had meeting yesterday with US Consulate Kolkata office, where we explored the possibility of signing MOUs and other joint programs with leading US universities. Sir, the construction of permanent campus of National Law University Tripura is going on with the active support of the government, and very soon we will have our state-of-art infrastructure and for the students and faculty. Sir, we are committed to provide quality legal education in the state of Tripura. Our target is that within 5 years, NLU Tripura should be considered as the first choice amongst the northeastern state, so that students from this region should not travel to other parts of the country and take admission for quality legal education. I also take this opportunity to welcome our Chancellor, Honorable Mr. Justice M.S. Ramachandra Rao, for all his support, and all the distinguished sitting and former judges of the High Court of Tripura for constant support to the university. Whenever we have approached honorable judges, sitting judges and former judges, they have extended support to the university. Senior advocates, High Court of Tripura, judicial officers, guest, Chief Secretary, Government of Tripura, Director General of Police, we have been so fortunate that whenever we have approached, it is not easy in states to meet Chief Secretary and DGP, but whenever we have sought appointment, we have immediately given appointment, and our problem was resolved. So this kind of support we get in the state of Tripura. We are very grateful to all of you, sir. With these words, I once again extend a warm welcome to our chief guest, Honorable Justice Ujjal Bhuyan, and to all distinguished guests present here. We look forward to an enlightening and inspiring lecture. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, respected VC sir. Respected Chief Justice sir, just for your kind, humble note, the song which was sung few minutes ago was written by Rabindranath Tagore 115 years ago, and it said, "The light strikes, the sky opens, the wind runs wild, lilies surge on the crest of the waves of light," and then the poet says that it's all beautiful. Today, in this wonderful moment, it's my honor and privilege that we will now felicitate our chief guest. To do the honor, may I kindly request our Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Yogesh Pratap Singh sir, to kindly felicitate our chief guest and speaker for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, would you mind, mainly students, if we can all please stand up. Students. This is such a wonderful moment for all of us. The palace which says it all before the whole world. This is our own palace, gifted to our chief guest, sir. And then I also request our VC sir to felicitate Honorable Mr. Justice Anindam Lodh sir, former judge of the High Court of Tripura and chairperson, Human Rights Commission Tripura.
Thank you. We will now have the release of the official journal of NLU Tripura, named as NLUT JLP Volume 1. May I request our dignitaries on the dais to kindly do the honor of releasing the journal. Request the volunteers to kindly assist. Can we all please give a big round of applause as the journal is getting released? NLUT JLP Volume 1. We thank and congratulate the advisory committee led by Justice A.K. Sikri, former Judge, Supreme Court of India, Editor-in-Chief Professor Dr. Yogesh Pratap Singh, Vice Chancellor NLU Tripura, Advisory Board of Journal, and also to all the authors who have contributed for the success of the journal. Can we all please give a big round of applause once again? The journal NLUT JLP Volume 1 is released. Thank you, everyone.
After this part is over, ladies and gentlemen, every institution and every initiative is built upon the vision and legacy of individuals whose lives continue to inspire generations. May I now humbly request Ms. Abhishekta Lodh, the granddaughter of late Apanshu Mohan Lodh and Managing Director of Tripura Times, to share a few words reflecting on her grandfather's lives, values, and the legacy he has left behind.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mr. Justice Ujjal Bhuyan, Judge, Supreme Court of India, Honorable Mr. Justice M.S. Ramachandra Rao, Chief Justice of the High Court of Tripura and Chancellor, National Law University Tripura, Honorable sitting and former judges of the High Court of Tripura, Honorable Chief Secretary, Sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, National Law University Tripura, respected dignitaries, esteemed members of the bar, distinguished guests, dear friends and well-wishers. At the very beginning, I would like to express our gratitude to the National Law University Tripura for organizing the second Apanshu Mohan Lodh Memorial Public Lecture. It is said, a person never truly lives us as long as their values continue to guide our lives. Today, we gather not merely to remember, but to honor a life defined by integrity, intellect, and service. The life of my beloved grandfather, Apanshu Mohan Lodh. For many of you present here, he was a brilliant lawyer, a respected senior advocate of the High Court of Tripura, and a mentor whose wisdom shaped many careers. But for me, he was simply my dadun, a river that flows into many a stream, and in my journey downstream, at many a bends, I discover a plethora of flourishing, successful people, unbeknownst to us, where high songs of his praise are still sung. Dadun has been an inspiration for generations, and yet he was unapologetically a family man. He is the chisel that has shaped every aspect of my being. His words of wisdom, his character of strength in every action, his unwavering sense of philanthropy, and his sense of purpose in every step has been the wind beneath my wings. And I so wish, Dadun, you were here today to bless us in our new endeavors. As a lawyer, he believed that law was not merely a profession, it was a commitment to justice. His arguments were admired for their clarity and depth. But what truly defined him was his integrity, the unwavering belief that the law must always stand on the side of truth. Yet, his vision extended far beyond the courtroom. To understand the courage of that vision, we must travel back to 1958. But before we speak about the newspaper he founded, let us pause for a moment and ask ourselves a simple question. What was Tripura back then? A state still recovering from the wounds of partition, a society rebuilding itself after displacement and uncertainty, a small town called Agartala that was barely beginning to grow. Electricity was rare, telephones were almost unheard of, roads were mostly kacha. Apart from landmarks like Ujjal the Palace and institutions such as Maharaja Bir Bikram College and Umakanta Academy, the town had very few pakka houses. My grandfather often recalled that during his student days at Maharaja Bir Bikram College, the surrounding areas were so close to forests that wild elephants would sometimes wander in. Students walking to college would make loud noises with tins and utensils just to scare them away. It was in this environment, with limited infrastructure, a small English reading population, and almost no commercial support, that my grandfather made a remarkable decision. He decided to start an English newspaper. In 1958, he launched The Spark, which later evolved into the respected English daily Tripura Times. At that time, the idea itself seemed almost impossible. Who would read an English daily in such a small town? Who would advertise? How would it survive? And yet, in the midst of those modest circumstances, one man believed that ideas mattered. One man believed that voices must be heard. One man believed that Tripura deserved to speak to the world. That man was Apanshu Mohan Lodh. He had no modern technical infrastructure, no trained journalist, no professional newsroom. So he became everything. The reporter, the writer, the editor, the business manager, the circulation manager, and even when the machine operator was not available, he would press the pedals of the printing machine himself. In every sense of the word, he was a one-man institution. But he remained unwavering in his belief. Tripura needed a voice that could carry the concerns and aspirations of this state to New Delhi and beyond. Night after night, he worked tirelessly. Slowly, patiently, that dream took shape. And the small newspaper that began as The Spark grew into Tripura Times, a publication that has served the people of the state for 6 decades now. Growing up, I remember watching him work day in and day out, reading, writing, thinking, always reflecting on how he could contribute more to the society. At that time, I did not fully understand the significance and magnitude of what he had created. But today, as I have the privilege of looking after Tripura Times, I realize something profound. It is not merely a newspaper. It is his dream, his courage, and his belief in truth that continues to live through it. Every edition printed, every story written with honesty feels like a continuation of the values he stood for. To the legal fraternity, he was a brilliant mind. To the readers of Tripura Times, he was a fearless editor. And to our family, he was our greatest source of inspiration and strength. As I stand here today, I feel both a deep sense of loss and an immense sense of pride. Loss because I miss his presence, love and guidance every waking moment of my life. But pride because not everyone is fortunate enough to inherit a legacy built on integrity, courage and service. Dadun, your chair in the courtroom may now be empty. Your voice may no longer echo in the halls of debate. But your spirit lives on. It lives on in every pursuit of justice, in every honest word printed in Tripura Times, in every effort we make to live by the principles you taught us, and in every young mind that dares to believe that one determined individual can change the destiny of a society. That was the legacy of my grandfather, Apanshu Mohan Lodh. Dadun, may you continue to bless us with strength to keep this light of your legacy alive. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for those heartfelt, emotional and touching words. Your reflections have beautifully reminded us that life values an enduring legacy of your grandfather, late Apanshu Mohan Lodh. Let his legacy continue to inspire us all. To better understand and draw inspiration from the remarkable life and legacy of late A.M. Lodh, we now present a short documentary capturing his journey, values and contributions. I request our technical team to kindly play the documentary.
Sri Apanshu Mohan Lodh, a stalwart of Tripura's legal fraternity. Sri Apanshu Mohan Lodh was a towering figure in Tripura's legal fraternity with a career spanning nearly 6 decades. He was not only a distinguished senior advocate but also a visionary who significantly contributed to the state's legal and journalistic landscape. As the founder editor of Tripura Times, established in 1960, he played a crucial role in shaping public discourse. One of his most notable contributions was his instrumental role in the establishment of the permanent bench of the Guwahati High Court in Agartala during the 1990s, recognizing the urgent need for judicial accessibility. He actively persuaded to the Honorable Chief Justice of the then Guwahati High Court to ensure the continuous posting of judges at Agartala. This effort significantly alleviated the backlog of pending cases at the Agartala bench. Over time, his relentless advocacy, along with the efforts of other senior legal professionals, culminated in the establishment of the High Court of Tripura on March 23, 2013, a milestone in the state's judicial history. Beyond his legal practice, Sri Apanshu Mohan Lodh was deeply involved in academia. He served as a guest faculty member at the prestigious MBB College, where he taught mercantile law law of contract, and other significant legal subjects. His career was marked by the handling of several remarkable cases, some of which are recognized as landmark judgments in Eastern India. During his prime, he was not only one of Tripura's most senior advocates, but was also regarded as a legal luminary of Northeast India. His passion for legal education continues to inspire generations. The annual Apanshu Mohan Lodh Memorial Lecture, a fitting tribute to his enduring legacy, serves as a beacon of legal scholarship. The Apanshu Mohan Lodh Memorial Lecture is set to become a cornerstone event for the legal fraternity in Tripura. Hosted annually by the National Law University Tripura, this lecture series will promote legal education, scholarship, and intellectual discourse.
আমি 1978 সালে আইন পেশায় যোগ দিয়েছিলাম। আমার ভুল না হলে সেই সময় অপাংশুদা সম্ভবত ত্রিপুরা বারের সভাপতি ছিলেন এবং এই মানুষটা আইন পেশার ক্ষেত্রে যেমন সার্থক, তেমন সামাজিক দায় দায়িত্বের ক্ষেত্রেও তার থেকে পিছিয়ে পড়েননি কখনো। মানুষের অধিকার সম্পর্কে সচেতন করার জন্য মানুষকে সাংবাদিকতা করেছেন। আজকে যে ত্রিপুরা টাইমস দেখছেন, ত্রিপুরা টাইমস ওনার একা করা। আমি দেখেছি ওনাকে একা কম্পোজ করতে, প্রিন্টিং করতে। আর আইনজীবী হিসাবে তো সার্থক আইনজীবী, এ বিষয়ে কোনো সন্দেহ নেই। আমাদের রাজ্যে যারা প্রথম হাইকোর্টের দ্বারা সিনিয়র অ্যাডভোকেটের স্বীকৃতি পেয়েছেন, মানে বরিষ্ঠ আইনজীবীর যে স্বীকৃতি, তাতে প্রথম যিনি পেয়েছিলেন তিনি হচ্ছেন কৃষ্ণ দেববর্মা। তারপরে অপাংশু মোহন লোধ, ভবেশ দাস, শঙ্করদেব এরা। আমি এটুকুন বলতে পারি যে খুব বড় মাপের আইনজীবী ছিলেন, ভালো মানুষ ছিলেন এবং মানুষের পাশে দাঁড়াতেন, আইনজীবীদের তৈরি হওয়ার কথা বলতেন এবং কি করে এই প্রতিষ্ঠানটাকে রক্ষা করা যাবে সেটা দেখতেন। এবং ত্রিপুরা হাইকোর্টকে পৃথক হাইকোর্ট হিসেবে পাওয়ার জন্য আন্দোলনের ক্ষেত্রে একটা বড় ভূমিকা আমরা যারা নিয়েছিলাম, তার মধ্যে উনিও ছিলেন, ওনার নেতৃত্বেই আমরা করেছিলাম।
This is a proud privilege. Actually, I have already said that I had long association with Apanshu Mohan from the days of my studies in Calcutta, especially the law studies. He was at that time designated as a senior advocate, and only a few senior advocates at that time, while Apanshu Mohan Lodh was a senior advocate. He had knowledge in law, especially civil law, constitutional law, and especially the drafting pleading. Apanshu Mohan Lodh, of course, he was an Indian origin. Actually, he was born in United India. He was not born in Pakistan or a foreign country. Ultimately, because of the partition, he had to shift to Tripura. A towering personality having interest in different other fields also. His paper, Tripura Times, perhaps was the first English newspaper having a lot of the other aspects of Apanshu Mohan Lodh was that I have never found him to had any controversy with any judge, with any judicial officer or with any lawyer, even the litigant, all the court staffs, district judiciary and the high court, they used to respect him. All lawyers also used to respect him as a fatherly figure.
Sri Lodh not only excelled in his profession, he was loved by all alike. By that time, Tripura became a constituent of Guwahati High Court, and the honorable judges of the Guwahati High Court also took him in high regards. In 1986, to be precise, in November 1986, myself, Sri Lodh and late Sri Bhavesh Das all were designated as senior advocates by the Guwahati High Court. Now, not only did Sri Lodh excelled in his life, in his profession, he was also a happy father. His son, Sri Aurindam Lodh, has been occupying the high post of the Judgeship of the High Court of Tripura. I am glad to remember his fond memories and tell you something here. Thank you.
I knew Apanshu Mohan Lodh from my school days, and I came to know from my father that he was a lawyer. So I had a special respect for him when I was a student of school. Later on, when I joined the bar, I met him and introduced myself, and with reference to my father, he instantaneously said that don't address me sir, because you are my younger brother, you are the son of my guru. So from the initial days, I started calling him Apanshuda. Later on, I found him very energetic for the cause of the people of Tripura. He was the torchbearer for setting up permanent bench here, permanent bench of Guwahati High Court, then separate High Court for the state of Tripura. He led us, and ultimately this separate High Court came into being. So he will be remembered so long this High Court shall remain. He is one of the great luminaries of the bar. I remember him for his great contribution to the bar and to the people of Tripura.
Apanshu Mohan Lodh was an out-and-out honest man, and he was a man of strong personality. He was the president of Tripura High Court Bar Association for 4 times. We had a long-standing demand of separate High Court in Tripura. Apanshu Mohan Lodh was the main architect for having separate High Court, which we have got in the year of 2013. Apart from his contribution in the legal field, he has similar contribution in the civil society of Tripura. He was the founder member of a daily English newspaper in Tripura, namely Tripura Times, in the year of 1960.
A heartfelt acknowledgement is extended to Honorable Justice Arindam Lodh for his noble initiative in preserving his father's legacy, and to Srimati Abhishekta Lodh, the current proprietor of Tripura Times, who plays a pivotal role in carrying forward the esteemed legacy of Sri Apanshu Mohan Lodh as his granddaughter. Special recognition is also due to Srimati Olota Lodh, octogenarian wife of Apanshu Mohan Lodh, Sri Abhijit Lodh and Srimati Jayati Lodh, the younger son and only daughter of Sri Apanshu Mohan Lodh, respectively. Through the establishment of an endowment, Justice Arindam Lodh has ensured that the invaluable contribution of Sri Apanshu Mohan Lodh will be honored and remembered for generations to come.
Thank you, everyone. And the moment we all have been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me to say, Honorable Mr. Justice Ujjal Bhuyan, our esteemed speaker of today and chief guest, was born in Guwahati, son of the Northeast. Completed his schooling at Don Bosco High School, Guwahati, and pursued higher studies at Cotton College, Guwahati itself. He graduated from Kirori Mal College, University of Delhi, obtained his LLB from Government Law College, Guwahati, and later completed his LLM from the Guwahati University. Ladies and gentlemen, he was enrolled with the bar in 1991. He practiced before the Guwahati High Court and its benches across the Northeast. During his career at the bar, he served as standing counsel for the Income Tax Department for over 16 years and as Additional Advocate General of Assam, and was designated as Senior Advocate by the Guwahati High Court in 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker for the day. Sir was appointed as an additional judge of the Guwahati High Court in 2011 and confirmed in 2013. He later served as a judge of the Bombay High Court and subsequently as Chief Justice of the High Court for the state of Telangana. Ladies and gentlemen, on 14 July 2023, he was elevated as a judge of the Supreme Court of India. Sir has also remained closely associated with legal education and serves on the governing bodies of premier institutions such as National Law School of India, University, Bangalore. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you all will put your hands together with that note, and my great honor to welcome and invite Honorable Mr. Justice Ujjal Bhuyan to the podium to deliver the second Apanshu Mohan Lodh Memorial Public Lecture.
The Chancellor of National Law University Tripura and also the Chief Justice of the Tripura High Court, Justice Ramchandra Rao, all the honorable judges of the Tripura High Court, former judges of the Tripura High Court who are present here today, the Chancellor of National Law University Tripura, Professor Dr. Yogesh Pratap Singh, my friend Justice Arindam Lodh, who is also the chairman of the Human Rights Commission here in Tripura, Abhishekta and the family members of late Apanshu Mohan Lodh, Learned Advocate General for the state of Tripura, Shri Shaktimoy Chakraborty, Learned Chief Secretary, Learned Director General of Police, Senior Advocates and learned members of the bar, including the representative member of the Supreme Court Bar Association is present here, government officials, members of the registry and judicial officers of Tripura Judicial Service, faculty members and members of the National Law University Tripura, Judicial Academy, my media friends, and my dear students. I am deeply honored to have been invited here for the second Apanshu Mohan Lodh Memorial Lecture, organized jointly by the Tripura Judicial Academy and by the National Law University Tripura. At the outset, I would like to pay my tributes to one of the former judges of the Guwahati High Court who hailed from this city, from this state, Justice P.K. Sarkar, who just passed away a couple of days ago. I distinctly remember as a lawyer I had appeared in his court and always used to go back. Whether I won or lost the case, that didn't matter. It was always a very cordial atmosphere in his court. Today, as I stand before you, I fondly recollect the memories of late Justice P.K. Sarkar. May his soul rest in peace. The lovely Rabindra Sangeet presented by my student friends brought back memories of my Hyderabad days. You may be wondering why, of all places, Hyderabad. When I was a Chief Justice there, the Cultural Department, Government of Telangana, in association with the Secunderabad Bongya Samaj, they organized the Rabindra Jayanti in May 2023. It's coming again. It's very near May. So they asked me that you should be the chief guest. I was the chief guest. I distinctly remember having told the audience that it would be very wrong to confine the great poet only to the shores of India or only to Bengal. He was a global poet. And why only a poet? He was a global visionary. His vision, or rather his clarion call, that we should break down narrow domestic walls, rings so true today, more than ever before. In fact, in November last year, I was invited to speak on the birthday of another great legal luminary, Justice Krishna Iyer. Many of you who have read his biography would remember that though he started as an atheist and a deeply committed communist, towards the end of his life, Justice Krishna Iyer became a believer in rebirth. I believe in God and I believe in worship, but I am not a compulsive temple hopper as such, and I have my own views on rebirth. But on that day I had said, if at all there has to be a rebirth, Justice Krishna Iyer needs to be reborn in the judicial family. Today, I would say, reframe that same statement and say, if at all there has to be a rebirth, Vishwa Kavi Guru Rabindranath needs to be reborn again to show light to the world which is facing so much of destruction and killings today for no apparent reason. Having said that, I would also say that Agartala or Tripura are not new to me. I hail from the northeast. As a lawyer, I had appeared before the Agartala bench of the Guwahati High Court on a number of occasions. I have made a lot of friends here. I had met Apanshu Mohan Lodh also here. Some of them went on to become senior advocates. Some of them went on to become judges of the Guwahati High Court. Justice S.C. Das and myself, we took oath on the same day, 17th of October 2011. The erstwhile Agartala bench was a part of the composite Guwahati High Court, then having jurisdiction over all the 7 northeastern states. When I was a lawyer, as also a judge in my initial years, unfortunately, I could not hold court here as a judge of the composite High Court before the Agartala bench was replaced by the Tripura High Court in March 2013. This remains one of my biggest disappointments in life till date. I distinctly remember the evening before, we were in the Chief Justice's residence. Justice Adarsh Goyal was my Chief Justice then. We were having, as if like that biblical Last Supper, we were having the last dinner together. The judges who would be departing for Meghalaya, judges who would be departing for Manipur, and judges who would be departing for Tripura. So Justice Goyal said, why don't we do one thing? Let us give it a very homely touch. Our spouses will prepare food at home and we'll bring it and put it on the table so that our brothers and sisters can have the meal together before they go back to their respective places. So this visit today has indeed rekindled all those fond memories in me which I had thought had become dormant. It has come back to me once again. At the outset, I would like to acknowledge the contributions of late Apanshu Mohan Lodh, who was a stalwart, as you have heard, that he was a stalwart in the field of law, a towering personality in the legal fraternity of Northeast India, practicing law for nearly 6 decades, from 1958 till 2014. He was one of the architects in establishing a permanent bench of the Guwahati High Court in Agartala, and later on played a pivotal role in establishing the Tripura High Court in March 2013. All this while, I thought that Sachin Dev Burman was the voice of Tripura. Wherever I used to go, I used to fondly associate myself and tell my colleagues who were there that he is the voice of Tripura. Today, after listening to his granddaughter, I would say it is late Lodh who had given voice to the voiceless in the state of Tripura by starting this newspaper, the Tripura Times, which continues to flourish under the able leadership of his granddaughter Abhishekta. The legacy of Apanshu Mohan Lodh continued to be carried forward by his illustrious son, Justice Arindam Lodh. He was an extremely competent lawyer, and I can vouch for that because as a judge of the Guwahati High Court, Arindam had appeared before my court on a number of occasions, including at Guwahati. Quite a few matters, some of which were transferred on orders of the Supreme Court to Guwahati. He went on to become a judge of the Tripura High Court, from where he has retired after rendering invaluable service to the cause of justice. So on this auspicious occasion, I extend my best wishes to Justice Arindam and to all members of the Lodh family. I thank the Tripura Judicial Academy and the National Law University Tripura for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to come back again to Agartala and to relive my fond memories of this wonderful place, of the wonderful lawyers, and of the many brilliant judges this place has produced. Thank you very much. Dear friends, as I stand before you, I am addressing the students. I don't have to address the younger member, the senior members of the audience, because somehow or the other I feel more comfortable with the young people, with the young students. There are many reasons for this. That can be a subject matter of another lecture. We may have many differences like age and experience, but there is one similarity between you and me, which is that we are all students of law. The most important aspect of the legal profession is continuous learning. The idea that a lawyer finishes her education on the graduation day is a myth. Law is perhaps the only profession where the rule book keeps on changing while you are playing the game. In the legal world, we don't just practice law. We remain students of law for life. That is why it is said that constant learning is the oxygen of the legal career. I am reminded of an American essayist, Ralph Waldo Emerson, who had said that there is no better way to exercise the imagination than the study of law. There is no better way to exercise the imagination than the study of law. To understand how law stretches the imagination, we must look at how it forces us to visualize invisible boundaries and predict the future. A lawyer who confines himself to only law books is a poor neighbor. This old adage rings truer today than ever before. To be a good lawyer, you have to be a hobbyist historian, a part-time scientist, and a full-time student of human behavior. Friends, today there are many avenues before a law graduate. Unlike earlier days, our times, law graduates have a lot many opportunities today. Thanks to the vision of Professor Madhava Menon when we started the first National Law University in India, 1985. Now I am told we have 27 national law universities, in addition to several law schools in the corporate sector, in the private sector, besides the traditional universities. It has transformed legal education in a wholesome manner. Earlier, there used to be evening law classes in most places. Barring a few colleges, most of the law education, law classes used to take place in the evening, so that government servants and others could come and join. In fact, I also studied in that government law college in the evening section, and I had it was a motley crowd of students, retired government servants or government employees on the verge of retirement who wanted a law degree to keep themselves busy after retirement. We had bored housewives joining, nothing else to do, joining law, engineering students. In fact, I can share with you now that one group of students comprising the housewives invited me to join their kitty party. But unfortunately at that time I had no pocket money, hardly anything at that point of time. So thank God I did not join the kitty party and concentrated more on the studies. So from that time onwards, in fact back home in Assamese there is a saying called, which they say, Jar nai goti, he kore ukaloti. It means if you don't have any other options, you do law. That has dramatically changed today thanks to establishment of these brilliant law schools. If you look at the entrance or the CLAT selection list, you will find most of the students, for them, law is the first choice. It is not that they are they don't get a seat in IIT or then they come to law. No. For them, law is the first choice. So this, thanks to this national law universities, of course, there are other issues also. Today is not the occasion. There are critics of the national law school kind of legal education in India. Obviously, there are bound to be different views. But all said and done, thanks to the vision of Madhava Menon, Professor Madhava Menon, and of course the proactive role played by the Bar Council of India, the legal education has completely changed. Rather, it has metamorphosed into a completely different course of study in India today. Today's law graduates have multiple options before them. You can join litigation. You can join the judiciary. Till very recently, you could straight away appear, after passing out from your law school, you could straight away appear in the examinations, and if you succeed, you were recruited in the judicial service. Now, of course, because of the judgment, a 3-year requirement has been brought into it by the Supreme Court. Another attractive option is the academia. We have so many law schools today. Bombay has got more than 78 law schools in the city. Pune has got more than 35. Bangalore has got more than 45. So all these law schools need teachers. So, and law professors are very well paid. Unlike our times when we had mostly part-time teachers from the bar who used to 7 years practice, who used to come and teach law. Then you can become a member, part of the policy group to sustain. The VD Center is one such example. They are doing excellent work. Some of you may like to join the corporates. But friends, if you ask me, which one should I choose? Without any hesitation, I will tell you that there is no substitute or comparison for litigation. To me, there is no better profession than the legal profession. I say this because there can be no greater satisfaction than convincing the court with your persuasive arguments based on law and eloquence and getting a favorable verdict for your client. Insofar professional rewards are concerned, for a successful lawyer, sky is the limit. A conscientious lawyer is one who is bold and courageous. He does not compromise on his integrity and self-respect. He is not just a paid spokesperson of his client, but more importantly, he is an officer of the court, upholding the cause of justice. Therefore, he commands respect and has high standing in the society. Lord Denning, in one of his judgments, had said that advocacy has a duty towards the court, which is paramount. It is a mistake to suppose that he is the mouthpiece of his client, to say what he wants, what the client wants him to say, or as he directs. He owns allegiance to a higher cause, and that is the cause of truth and justice. He is therefore an officer of the court. This is the essence of true advocacy. And that is why it is called a noble profession. But friends, as the seniors will tell you, as the doyens will tell you, the profession of law is not easy. It is not like the proverbial bed of roses. Though I do not like the expression, for the sake of the narration, I would paraphrase what is often said. Law is a jealous mistress It is often said, law is a jealous mistress. Law demands complete loyalty and commitment. Dear students, don't be apprehensive. Law is not rocket science. But it needs hard work and dedication. There is no shortcut to success here. Now we are in a cricketing age. There is cricket in the ambience. In cricketing parlance, legal profession is not 2020 cricket. It is not even one-day cricket. You must have the tenacity and the technique to play a long innings like in Test cricket. Last year in the Supreme Court, I was in a bench headed by Justice Oak, O-K-A. Many pronounce as Oka, but in Maharashtra they pronounce him as Oak. So one young lawyer appeared in one matter before us. She had prepared her case well, but was arguing on the dotted lines only. So when the court questioned her, she was only responding in the manner she had prepared. Perhaps she had not anticipated such queries from the court. When we asked her, she said that this was her first case. We complimented her and told her that she had prepared her case well, but she needed to come out of her law school mooting. This is where courtcraft and the art of advocacy comes in. No textbook will teach you the courtcraft or art of advocacy. It is through your exposure to court proceedings and experience that you will become adept at courtcraft and master the art of advocacy. As young entrants to the bar, you should always remember the guiding principles of the legal profession, often referred to as the 7 lamps of advocacy. And these are honesty, courage, industry with eloquence, patience, judgment and fellowship. These are the qualities that will sustain a legal practitioner through thick and thin. The strength of an advocate lies not in aggression, but in the quiet assurance that comes from preparation, reason and respect, both for the court and for the process of law. While on aggression, I must tell you that as a professional lawyer, you must be able to control your anger and must not display your disappointment to the court. Please remember, there can always be more than one view, and that your view may not always be the correct one. In 1787, as a young lawyer, Eldon, who later on became Lord Eldon, had argued a case in court with great passion, but he lost. He was terribly disappointed with the verdict, and there was an outburst in court too. 30 years later, that case was cited before him as a precedent when he was presiding over the Court of Chancery as Lord Eldon. He remarked that he remembered the case and also how upset he was with the decision, but that he had lived long enough to find out that one may be very angry and very wrong as well. That reflection serves as a quiet reminder that advocacy demands patience and restraint, balance and judgment. Emotion has little or no place in law. To the young lawyers, rather all of you, my request would be that please go through the book Before Memory Fades, written by Fali Nariman, undoubtedly one of India's greatest lawyers. This book will tell you what to do and what not to do as you navigate through the rough and tumble of legal practice. Late Nariman, the doyen of the Indian bar, referred to the bar as the school of hard knocks. You will learn valuable lessons of life and law in the bar. It's a great institution reflecting the social milieu of the times. The bar is a great leveler too. It is a place where you gain your life experiences. You share and exchange ideas, develop fraternal feelings, and respect towards your colleagues. It is one of the most powerful stakeholders in the justice delivery system. The uniqueness of the legal profession was aptly summed up by William Shakespeare when he had said, "Strive mightily, but eat and drink as friends do in law." Strive mightily, but eat and drink as friends do in law. Inside the courtroom, we are fierce competitors. We will not yield an inch. We will defend the rights and interests of our respective clients. But the moment we step out, we are colleagues. And that is the charm of the legal profession. On this, I remember I used to come to the Agartala bench of the Guwahati High Court. At a contractual matter, I was for the petitioner. We had also requested Talapatra, Subhashish Talapatra, who later on went on to become the Chief Justice of Orissa High Court, to be on our side to ensure that there were no prominent advocate opposing our petition on that. So we got an ad interim order at the initial stage. But then the senior government advocate, U.B. Saha, came with full force and argued so vehemently that we not only the stay order got vacated, the petition got dismissed. And as a mark of consolation, he invited us to his chamber for a cup of tea. That is all. That's the charm of the legal profession. As I said, inside the courtroom, we are adversaries, defending the rights and interests of our clients. But outside, we are friends. We are colleagues. When I was a judge in the Bombay High Court, the COVID pandemic broke out. And for several weeks, we were confined to our residences. During that period, one student ambassador, she said that she represented SCC online and she wanted an interaction with me. Now, since SCC Online is a law-related magazine, I said yes. So, during the interaction, one of the questions she asked me was whether there was any political or executive pressure or influence on the judiciary. This is the question she asked me. I remember to have said that I can't speak for others, but insofar as I am concerned, till that point of time, I had not faced any such interference. But I also remember to have said that our judiciary has been built brick by brick, literally brick, by great men and women over a long period of time. Its foundations are strong. There may be aberrations here and there. As a big institution, there are bound to be aberrations. But judiciary has the inherent resilience to come back and to protect its independence, which is non-negotiable. My friends, as young entrants to the profession, it is extremely important that you should know about those great men and women who had laid the foundations and shaped the trajectory of our judiciary. There are many, and it is not possible to deal with all of them in one lecture. But today, I'll confine myself to only a couple of them, two of them. One such great man was, all the students should know actually, this is all our judicial history, was Justice Radha Binod Pal, a pre-constitution and pre-independence judge in India. He was appointed as a judge of the Calcutta High Court in the year 1941 and thereafter to the United Nations International Law Commission in 1952. He was a judge in the International Military Tribunal for the Far East, which conducted post-World War II prosecution of Japanese leaders for committing war crimes, which came to be known as the famous Tokyo trials. Justice Radha Binod Pal stood out for his powerful dissenting opinion that went far beyond mere disagreement. Justice Pal found the post-World War II prosecution of Japanese leaders to be fundamentally flawed in principle and procedure. Tellingly, he rejected the notion of ex post facto criminalization. That was a nebulous concept during those times. He highlighted that. That is, punishing acts that were not crimes under the existing international law at the time when those acts were committed. He questioned the charter of the International Military Tribunal for the Far East on the ground that the charter upheld new crimes that did not have a foundation in pre-existing international law. Justice Pal's dissent highlighted that establishment of a charter by the victors and the setting up of a special tribunal was not problematic. But law would not recognize the victor's right to legislate creation of new crimes in international law and giving a retroactive effect. According to him, the trials failed this most basic requirement of the rule of law, that laws must precede the conduct they criminalize. To him, retroactive criminal justice was no justice at all. Though a minority opinion, Justice Pal stood out for his courage and conviction. His dissent stands as a powerful reminder that justice cannot be shaped by the passions of the moment or the convenience of the powerful. His dissent underscores a timeless truth that the rule of law must prevail over political expediency and must triumph even in the face of the gravest of conflicts, be it domestic or international. There is a book called Hirohito and the Making of Modern Japan. It's a HarperCollins publication. And the author Herbert Bix described Justice Pal as the most politically independent of the judges, refusing to let political concerns and purposes of the allied powers, let alone the charter, influence his judgment in one way or the other. There is a memorial in Tokyo's Yasukuni Shrine which is dedicated to the memory of Justice Pal for his courageous stand in the Tokyo trials. On February 12, 2026, very recently and much belatedly, the Kolkata Municipal Corporation has changed the name of one road from Esplanade Row West to Justice Radha Binod Pal Sarani as a tribute to this great judge. Better late than never. Pal's exposition against the ex post facto criminalization is constitutionally acknowledged in India in the form of Article 20, Sub-Article 1 of the Constitution of India, which says that no person shall be convicted of any offence except for violation of a law in force at the time of commission of the act charged as an offence, nor be subjected to a penalty greater than that which might have been inflicted under the law in force at the time of commission of the offence. Friends, this prohibition against ex post facto criminalization has withstood judicial scrutiny. Immediately after India became the Constitution came into force in 1953, a Constitution bench of the Supreme Court in Rao Shiv Bahadur Singh versus State of India Pradesh explained in detail the aforesaid principle, which has been reiterated very recently in 2023 by another Constitution bench in CBI versus R.R. Kishore. There is much more to Radha Binod Pal, but for paucity of time it is not possible to go beyond this. The next judge about whom I am going to say was one of the earliest judges in the Supreme Court. He was Justice Bijon Kumar Mukherjee. It is reported that the then Prime Minister had called on him one evening and conveyed to him that the central government had certain reservations against the next senior most judge after the Chief Justice, Justice Shastri, that is Meher Chand Mahajan, and that the central government would like to supersede him and make Justice Bijon Kumar Mukherjee the next Chief Justice of India, when Chief Justice of India, Justice Patanjali Shastri, would retire in a few weeks' time, in January 1954. In the course of the conversation, the Prime Minister is reportedly had told that Justice Meher Chand Mahajan, the next senior most judge and senior to Justice Mukherjee, would be overlooked, and in his place Justice Mukherjee would be appointed as the Chief Justice of India. He had certain reservations about Mahajan. It is there in Mahajan's book itself. It is there in Before Memory Fades. However, for us, what is relevant and important is the response of Justice Mukherjee. He is reported to have told the Prime Minister that if the seniority principle was not followed, and if in order of seniority Justice Mahajan was not appointed as the next Chief Justice of India, and instead he was appointed, he would tender his resignation in protest. Justice Mukherjee waited for his term. Such were the character of the judges, the people at that point of time. He waited for his turn and he became Chief Justice. He became Chief Justice of India only on the retirement of Justice Meher Chand Mahajan in December 22, 1954. Today, this type of conduct appears to be very archaic today. Anyway, I would not go into that, lest it again stirs up some controversy. But these are instances of great men and women that we had. There are many more who had shaped the destiny of our judiciary and by extension our country. Our founding fathers, led by Bharat Ratna, Dr. Baba Saheb Bhimrao Ambedkar, have gifted us a most vibrant document, the Constitution of India. It is indeed a transformative document. It has transformed a highly feudal and unequal society practicing graded inequality into a forward-looking modern society based on equality, fraternity and justice. On the strength of our Constitution, Supreme Court has evolved and enduring jurisprudence of justice. Our constitution and the constitutional jurisprudence that we have developed is our collective treasure. It is our national wealth. Therefore, it is the bounden duty of the present generation of lawyers and judges to not only protect and preserve the Constitution and its eternal values, but also to enrich it further. As students of law and as future lawyers, we all must have abiding faith and allegiance to the Constitution and to the constitutional ideals. It is necessary that we restate our constitutional values as enshrined in the preamble. We at the individual level as well as at the community level must be able to attune our thought process to that of the constitutional morality, which is a higher benchmark, which is based on the foundational principles of equality, fraternity and democracy. In one of my recent judgments, in Atul Mishra versus Union of India, I delved into the concept of fraternity. Referring to the philosophy of Dr. Ambedkar, I have said that one of the solemn objectives of our Constitution, which finds mention in the preamble, is to promote amongst all the citizens of India fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. This is the guiding philosophy of our Constitution. If we go to the Charter on Fundamental Duties, we find that Article 51 capital A reminds every citizen of India that it shall be their bounden duty to abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions. More specifically, Article 51A(e) says that it shall be the duty of every citizen of India to promote harmony and a spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, and regional or sectional interests. The concept of fraternity, as articulated in the preamble, embodies a sense of collective brotherhood amongst all Indians. Fraternity assumes paramount significance in reinforcing the ideals of equality and liberty. It is imperative for national unity and social cohesion. In the Indian constitutional context, fraternity assumes a dynamic and inclusive role, aligning with the broader roles of social justice, equality, and upliftment. Thus, cultivating a sense of brotherhood and respecting fellow citizens, irrespective of caste, religion, or language, is a constitutional dharma each one of us must follow. Before concluding, let me quote again from one of our legendary judges, Justice O. Chinnappa Reddy, who had said in the famous Bijoy Emanuel case. Students of law must read this Bijoy Emanuel case. I doubt whether only a judge having the courage and conviction as Justice O. Chinnappa Reddy could have authored a judgment like this. While allowing the appeal and directing the authorities to readmit the students into the school so that they could pursue their studies without any hindrance, he declared, and I quote, "Our tradition teaches tolerance. Our philosophy preaches tolerance. Our constitution practices tolerance. Let us not dilute it." My best wishes to all my student friends here. I am sure whichever avocation you choose, you will be successful. Many amongst you may go on to become very successful lawyers, senior advocates. Some of you may become policy experts. good judges, bold judges, courageous judges. Some of you may even become good politicians. And why not? We need good politicians too. So, my best wishes to all of you, and my best wishes to the National Law University Tripura, under the leadership of the Vice Chancellor here. I am sure in the days, months, years and decades to come, National Law University Tripura will firmly establish itself as one of the leading centers of legal education in the country. I once again thank the organizers, the Lodh family, the Tripura National Law University, the Judicial Academy, for inviting me to deliver this lecture and in the process to share some of my random thoughts with this august gathering. Thank you very much and God bless. This is yours.
Thank you so much, sir, for that in-depth lecture and on the topic emerging frontiers for law graduates, challenges and opportunities. It is indeed a blessing to have you, a distinguished figure like you at this rare and special event. Just if I may add, I teach in a law school, being a non-law faculty. You mentioned that law is not a rocket science. And what I understand as of now, that law is all about common sense. So can we please give another round of applause to Honorable Mr. Justice Ujjal Bhuyan. So with your permission, can we take few questions? So now we'll move on to the Q&A.